Hello and welcome to the Slow Crafting Podcast. My name's Nadine and I'm coming to you from the northwest of England, and this is a podcast about trying to incorporate a slow living and slow fashion agenda into my crafting endeavours. So I cover knitting, spinning, crochet, sewing, a whole range of fibre arts and crafts. Right, this is going to be part 2 of my More to Life the Merino series, looking at different breeds of sheep and the fibres, and my experience of having spun different sheep breeds and fibres from different sheep breeds, and whether I think they would be garment suitable or what I thought of the spinning process. Episode 11 of the Slow Crafting Podcast was the first in the More to Life the Merino, where I covered about 7 different sheep breeds and mentioned 3 really good books for sort of informing your spinning decisions, and I recommend you go back and look at episode 11 if you're interested in those books, because I've not brought them downstairs with me today, so I can't show you them again. Right, today I've got quite a few different, I'm just looking at my stash of wool down here, I've got quite a few different breeds to talk about, so I shall make a start. Right, as I mentioned in the last episode, most of the fibre that I bought was from either Adelaide Walker or Wingham Woolworks. Both I've got online stores, but in terms of physical proximity to where I live, they're actually both quite close in the grand scheme of things. What I would be interested in, actually, before I talk about these fibres, is whether anybody knows anywhere in the UK where you can source prepared fibre, sort of direct from farm, or a small group of farms, because I know there's quite a few companies out there, or small companies out there now, that are starting to sell commercially spun yarn, well, small scale spun yarn that's traceable direct to farm or flock, but I've not been able to find that many sources for prepared fibre that's traceable directly to a farm. I know places like Etsy and eBay, you can buy raw fleece, but America seems to have a lot more options for prepared fibre, so ones that's already in roving or comb top format. So if anybody knows anywhere out there, please feel free to leave a comment in the box below, or send me a message, either through here or through Ravelry, where my username is craftingnadine, or as a comment on the blog, where I'll post this as well, and that's at themanyknitsofnadine.wordpress.com. Okay, right, back onto the fibres. Now, I know I've just said that most of my fibres are from Wingham Woolworks or Adelaide Walker, but these two here are from North Ronaldsay. North Ronaldsay Rovings, in fact, and just to be able to see. Oh, I've not flicked it again. It's I'll put links down below for this one. It's North Ronaldsay fibre from North Ronaldsay sheep from North Ronaldsay Island in Orkney. Now my brother sent me this because he lives in, brother and his wife sent me this because they live in Orkney now, and whilst the sort of fleece and the field guarded fleece and a couple of the other books had said that it's not next to skin soft, I think I could get away with it, actually. It's I should have said all the fibres that I'm showing you today will be traditional 2-ply, spun on my Ashford Kiwi 2 wheel, and they're roughly a fingering 4-ply weight, and spun, except for one, spun short forward draw. Now this wasn't spun from comb top, this was spun from sliver, which made it a little bit of a different experience. It wasn't quite as uniform as some of the other fibres that I was spinning, but I don't know whether that was just the prep or whether that was more common to the sheep breed itself. There was different lengths of fibre to be working from. But this is the dark brown version. There we go. As you can see, it's not perfectly even. That's because of the working from sliver. It was my first time doing it, and it took some getting used to, but it is nice and soft. I think I could actually get away with this as a scarf or next to skin on my neck, so on my arms and as a jumper this for me would work. I did enjoy spinning it, despite the fact it took some getting used to, and I would be very happy to spin it again. And this is the white version. This has got, appears to have slightly more kemp in it than the brown one did, but again, having said that, it is still next to skin soft for me. For people who are a bit more sensitive, probably not. But yeah, I really enjoyed spinning it, and I think I'd spin it again, and I would be tempted to make a garment out of it if I had enough. But the two skeins that I've got here, I think I'm going to turn into a shawl with the skein of sort of humble Shetland that I showed last week, and possibly the skein of Massam as well. Really big comfy winter shawl, I think, with the two. So then I'll have two sort of creamy whites. This is creamy whites with a slight tinge of grey in places as well, as I think there must have been some darker fibres in with it as well, darker hairs. And this is sort of quite a grey brown, and then the humble Shetland, it was lots of different colours of Shetland blended together, so it's come out as sort of a light orangey brown, more sort of quite, no, not fawn, but yeah, a light orangey brown, and then obviously the Massam's a creamy colour as well, so I think they'll work nicely as a shawl together. And I was thinking possibly the Makariri shawl by Aroha Knits. I know that's only a 3-colour shawl, but it does seem to require more of the white, or like one of the colours, so hence the two skeins of different white breeds. Okay, that's those two. Next up is Cheviot or Cheviot, I don't know how you pronounce it. Now, this was one of my early spins, and I personally think it's overspun. It's quite crunchy. I think that was my spinning rather than the fibre. Smells nice and sheepy. It's a sort of really quite a dark cream, almost heading into pale yellow territory in terms of its colour. I think I'd like to spin this one again before I decided whether or not it was garment suitable, because this skein I don't think is, but I'm not sure whether it was my spinning or the fibre itself that that made it not really suitable for garments for me. It's I think possibly my spinning, but I didn't enjoy spinning it. Whilst I say I'd need to spin more to decide whether it was garment suitable, I think for now I'm going to steer clear of Cheviot, because I didn't enjoy the spin, and I'm not guaranteed that it was my spinning style that means it's not garment suitable for me. So yes, probably not one I will do again, certainly not for a while. Another brown fibre. Now, I mentioned this in one of my earlier episodes. It looks black on screen. It's not. It's a very dark, well, I suppose almost like a black coffee colour. This is Hebridean. No, it's not. I'm lying. It's black Welsh mountain. And yes, I've talked about this before because I know Emily from Fibre Town has spoken about some black Welsh mountain that she'd spun, and she was quite surprised that it had come out as a brown yarn, because the I think it was a Field Guide to Fleece by Deborah Robson had mentioned that, you know, well, black Welsh mountain is probably one of the only true black breeds of sheep that there is. But as we can't clearly see because of the lighting in here, but trust me, this is very much a brown colour and has a lot of grey heathering throughout. So quite whether it's a typical of all black Welsh mountain fibres, I'm yet to be convinced. But it was a good spin. I enjoyed it. I would do it again, and I think for me it might be a little bit, I couldn't get away with it on my neck because I'm holding it here and it is prickling me, but I think as a jumper with something underneath it would work, and it would definitely work for hats and gloves. So yes, probably would spin again because I enjoyed it, but I don't know whether it's too dark for my skin tone. Yeah, I don't think I would necessarily get away with it as a hat, but just because it is too dark, unless I did some colour work with a lighter colour or a brighter colour. So yes, one for the helpful, useful pile. What's this one? Ah, Ile de France. This is one of my most recent spins. It's again a very creamy, very dark creamy colour. I didn't enjoy this, and I don't know why. Because it drafted relatively straightforward. I have got a few lumps and bumps and thick and thin bits in it, but no, it's soft enough. You could make certainly knitwear that you'd have up against your neck with it, and definitely garment soft, but for me I just couldn't achieve a consistent enough yarn, and didn't enjoy it enough to think, right, yeah, I'm going to sit down and spin hundreds and hundreds of grams of this all in one go to make a garment. So no, probably not one I'll spin again, but like I say, it probably is garment soft, and it might well be that my spinning style, like I say, short forward draw, is not suited to this particular type of fibre. So I'd be interested to see what whether other people have tried this and what they thought of it. Right. This one was it's labelled there you go, as white Falkland. Now, that doesn't really tell me much, because Falkland is not a breed of sheep in itself. Falkland is the island that it comes from, the Falklands. Now, I think, if I'm right, the majority of the sheep that come from Falkland are Merino or Polworth, or some mixture of the two. And looking at it, there's the odd bit of, you can't really see it because it's really fine, there's the odd bit of really fine kemp in it. So I don't think this one's merino based, but it is a nice soft fibre, and this one's a slightly less yellow cream, like slightly grey, a grey hint to the cream. So I'm not sure whether, like I say, whether this is Polworth, as Polworth's not something I've spun yet. But this that was labelled as white Falkland was enjoyable to spin. It's left me with a nice yarn, and it's certainly soft enough. I think it'd be soft enough for baby knits, actually, not just adult garments. So yes, I'd recommend this one if I knew exactly what sheep breed it was. Right, now this one was really interesting. This one is some Texel, which in the UK certainly is bred primarily as a meat sheep. In fact, the rams that my brother's got are both Texel sheep, very grumpy looking sheep, and really stocky. Hence them being a meat sheep, obviously, because they've got meat on them. They're going to be useful for breeding from. Now, this isn't meant to be because it's a meat sheep. It doesn't tend to be used for garments and things, and if anything, the fleece tends to go into the carpet making industry. But certainly this prep that I had has left me with a yarn that I think would be suitable for garment making, and I know Tom of Holland has actually used some hand-spun Texel for making socks with before, so I might try that actually. I know this is only a 2-ply, so it wouldn't necessarily be the most sensible yarn. You probably want a 3-ply at least, especially if it was going to be without any nylon in it. But in terms of actually using the yarn that I've got, I might try making these into some socks. I'd probably dye the finished pair of socks. Well, I don't know whether I'd dye the finished socks or dye the yarn first and then knit it up. I think possibly dye the yarn and then knit it up, just because I can't wear white socks. Reminds me of being at school. But yes, I think I will. I think I'll make this into a pair of socks, but I think you could get away with it as a jumper on top of something. Wouldn't make a very comfortable cowl, but it might work as a hat, gloves, socks. Yeah, I think that'd work well. So yes, I'd spin Texel again. Yes, I enjoyed it, and yes, it is suitable for things up more than carpets. And then my favourite fibre in the whole world so far. Just let me have a drink. Now, I have rather a lot of this one. I just want to show you this first. This is Gotland. Now, I think I mentioned last week that my happy place when it comes to spinning is Longwool fibres and Longwool breeds, and Gotland is certainly that. And you're not going to get it on screen, but it does have a nice luster to the finished wool, finished yarn. And this skein was the first 100 grams I got, just to see what I thought of it and whether I liked it. And this was spun short forward row from comb top. Now, the Sue Blacker book that I mentioned in the last episode, Pure Wool, she actually mentioned that Gotland, surprisingly, coped better with a semi-woolen or a semi-worsted prep when spinning, so it shouldn't necessarily have worked as well as it did, but it was an absolute joy to spin as 2-ply short forward row, and it's left me with a beautiful yarn, and I enjoyed it so much. And it's definitely, I wouldn't make a cowl with it, but certainly a cardigan or a jumper. It's definitely garment worthy. Ooh, shiver. So I enjoyed it so much that for Tour de Fleece this year, I decided that I was going to spin up the other 500 grams of it that I'd bought at Bakewell Wool Gathering a couple of years ago. And I thought, taking advice from Sue Blacker, I'd try spinning it over the fold, because what I had was commercially prepared. It was commercial comb top, so I thought I'd get as close to a woolen style of spinning as I could with that, which led me to spinning it over the fold. Now, as you can probably tell from my gabbling, I'm not a technical spinner. If you want technical spinning advice, I'd go and watch Rachel from the Wool and Spinning Podcast, because she's amazing. I am a spinner. I have a default style, and I just do what feels natural. But I have to say, I don't actually like this fibre as much as I like the short forward raw fibre that I spun. I was hoping to get a 4-ply or fingering weight for my finished yarn, but I have actually got I'm behind here somewhere, a DK a DK weight yarn in the end. So I think there should be enough to make me a cropped 3/4 length sleeve cardigan from it, which is what I wanted, with a vision of having it as like a couture knit. So being something that had lace or a lot of intricate detailing on it, and being something that I wore for best rather than an everyday cardigan. And it's still beautiful, but I think if I spin more, I will just revert back to my short forward row. Now, unfortunately, as I say, these are different yarn weights, because I think the first lot of Gotland I spun was came out as a fingering 4-ply weight, and it's also slightly darker shade than these, because I got them at different times, even though I got them from the same supplier. These haven't had a bath yet, hence they're still quite jazzy, but I managed to spin this whole 500 grams during Tour de Fleece, so that was really exciting, because I didn't feel like it was hard work either. Didn't feel like I was slogging my guts out. It was really enjoyable, and I even had a day left at the end, because I took the rest days, the same as the Tour de France riders, and I even had a day left at the end to spin some coloured, it's merino actually, but it's a gift for a friend, but I really did need some colour after 3 weeks of grey yarn. I did need some colour on my wheel, so that was been quite nice, and I think that's it in terms of the different fibres for this time. Now, next week, or not next week, but the next time I record, I will be talking about something different, because this is the extent of my sheep breed spinning so far. I do have a cupboard full of different breeds waiting to be spun still. I know I've certainly got some Herdwick in there, and some BFL, Dorset Horn, and quite a few others. There's quite a few cream ones, so when I've spun all those up, I'll do a further instalment, but it might be quite a cream a cream show, but that won't be for quite a long time, because I think after having spun all this grey, I do need to work my way through some more interesting colours on my wheel before I go back to the different sheep breeds and experimenting with them. Right, if you have any questions, or like I say, if you have any suggestions for where I can buy or source farm specific prepared fibre from in the UK, I would be massively grateful. Right, as I said, you can find me as Crafty Nadine on Ravelry, or through my blog, themanyknitsofnadine.wordpress.com. Okay, thank you for watching, hope to see you next time. Bye bye.